Good morning, dear students. Welcome once again. This time we are going to continue on with class 7, chapter number 9, history, the making of regional cultures. So in this chapter, how the different cultures evolved, we are going to read. Okay? So how different regional means those cultures which were taken locally, through local means. Okay? About those cultures we need to read. Okay, so we generally recognize a people, we can generally know a people to which society or to which region that person is belonging to by means of dialect. What is the meaning of dialect? It means language. So it is regular for us to recognize, to identify local people with dialect, with the language, right? Everybody have different language. For example, if you talk to a Bengali, you come to know that he is Bengali because his tongues start conversating in that fashion, right? In the same way, Kannada, if you talk to a person belonging to Kannada region, belonging to Karnataka, his dialect, his language will be different. Okay, so it is regular for us to recognize, to identify the local people with dialect, right? For example, Bengali, Kannada, on the premise of language, on the basis of language which he talks. Okay, so on the basis of language, on the basis of the dialects he delivers, we can identify a person. Okay, now some of the important terms of this chapter. The first term is your animism. What is the meaning of animism? It means attribution of living soul to plants. What is the meaning of attribution? That means when someone is blaming somebody, that it is because of your actions, because of your deeds, your soul, your spirit gets transformed to plants. Okay, we generally know by mythological means that after doing several goodness, or after doing several good ships, after doing several good works, we get the birth as humans, right? So animism, that means when somebody's soul gets transformed, gets changed from human to plants. Okay, so attribution of living soul to plants is known as animism. Okay, so animism is attribution of living soul to plants. Attribution when someone is blamed to have done because of actions, because of deeds. Okay, Peer, another word is peer. What is the meaning of peer? It is a Persian word meaning spiritual guide. So the Persian word which means spiritual guide, that means peer, pagambar, right? Pandits, purohits. Okay, these are the spiritual guide. And Persian word which means spiritual guide is known as peer. It is a Persian word. Okay, otherwise it will be pandit, purohit. Okay, all these things. So Persian word meaning spiritual guide. Spiritual guide is known as peer. It is just a Persian word. Okay, now the story starts with the Jagannath cult. What is the meaning of cult? That means sect. Okay, Jagannath sect, Jagannath caste, Jagannath family, you can say. Okay, so Jagannath cult. What happens in 12th century? That means in 12th century, one of the important rulers of Ganga dynasty, his name was Anantavarman. Okay, so that king decided to erect, that king decided to make stand, or that king has made a temple for Purushottam Jagannath at Puri, which is rightly also been located, right? Yes. So in 12th century, one of the important rulers of Ganga dynasty, the name of the king was Anantavarman. When he decided to erect a temple for Purushottama Jagannath, he erected that temple, and from there the Jagannath cult started, or the Jagannath sect got started. Okay, the Jagannath family began. Okay, now the story of Kathak. Kathak, or dance form, everybody knows. What is its story? The term Kathak is derived from Katha. So this word Kathak is derived from the term Katha, a word used in Sanskrit. This is the word which is used in Sanskrit. So term Kathak is derived from Katha, which is a word which is used in Sanskrit. Moreover, it developed in two traditions or gharanas, because it is a dance form. Dance forms are generally starts from gharanas or from their tradition. Okay, so what was the gharana of this Kathak dance? One is in courts of Rajasthan and other in Lucknow. Lucknow is in UP. So it is just you can say it has got developed from the gharana of Rajasthan and UP. Okay, so this is the story of Kathak. That means it is a traditional dance which originated from the gharanas of Rajasthan and Lucknow. Moreover, the term Kathak is originated. The term Kathak is originated from which term? From Katha, which means a story in Sanskrit. Okay, Katha, right? So the term Kathak is derived from word Katha. Now about the painting culture, what we need to learn? Paintings for patrons. Patrons means clients, customers, you can say. What were the paintings that were famous during that time? It was Basohli and Kangra school of miniature painting. Miniature painting, mini painting, small painting, okay, which you often used to make on small piece of paper, on small cloth or something. Okay, so miniature painting means small painting, mini painting. So these are the two school of mini painting, Basohli and Kangra. Okay, these are the two famous miniature painting got developed during that reign, and it developed where? In Himalayas. Okay, so this got originated from which region? From the region of Himalayas in the 17th century. Okay, so these are the painting forms that got developed during your 12th century. Okay, yes. Now the temples. Okay, peers and the temples. The heading will be peers and your temples. Okay, under this section we need to know that from the 16th century, okay, from 16th century the people began, okay, from 16th century, okay, peers and temples. From 16th century people began to migrate in large number from less fertile Western Bengal to forested southeastern Bengal. See, this was a story. Okay, during 16th century most of the people started themselves migrating. They start shifting, okay, in large number from less fertile Western Bengal to forested southeastern Bengal. Why these people migrated? Because at that time everybody wants to do the agriculture for survival, and if they are not going to get the correct land, that is fertile land, how they would survive, right? That's why in the 16th century people began to migrate in large number from less fertile western Bengal to forested southeastern Bengal. Okay. Now the Rajputs and the traditions of heroism. That means from 19th century Rajasthan of today was called Rajputana. Okay. So this Rajasthan is known as Rajputana. Okay. Why? Because of gatherings who call themselves Rajasthan in north and central India. Okay. Because this Rajasthan of today was called Rajputana by the Britishers. Okay. And who was one of the main ruler at that time? He was Prithviraj Chauhan. So Prithviraj Chauhan was one of the main ruler at that time. Main Rajput ruler was Prithviraj Chauhan, one of the Rajputana king. Okay. Moreover, women also have showed a brave picture. Okay. Since they have submitted to Sati immolation. Sati immolation, they have shown their bravery by fighting against the enemy. Moreover, by showing self-immolation. Self-immolation means putting their life to sacrifice. Okay, so this was the thing only because of which women also have got a description. They have also got a tag of bravery in their name. Okay, now the question answer of this chapter. The first question is, what is Maniprabalam? Okay, what do you mean by the term Maniprabalam? And name a book written in that language. Okay, so what is Maniprabalam? First question is, Maniprabalam means diamonds and corals. Okay, Maniprabalam. Mani means diamond, right? Maniprabalam, that means collection of diamonds and corals, precious stones. Okay, literally means diamonds and corals. It is combination of two languages, Sanskrit and Malayalam. So it is a combination of two languages, Sanskrit and Malayalam. Moreover, you have to give the name of a famous book. The name of the book is Leela Tilakam. So Leela Tilakam is the famous book written in this language, Maniprabalam. If the question is asked, what is Maniprabalam? You have to simply say that it is combination of two languages, Sanskrit and Malayalam. Okay, and it literally means, the word Maniprabalam means diamonds and corals. This is your accurate answer. Moreover, name a book written in that language. It is Leela Tilakam, which is a famous book written in that language. Okay. Now, another question. Who were the major patrons of Kathak? Who were the major patrons of Kathak? Who were the people who like this major patron, or who were the main clients of Kathak? Who were the people who actually recognize this as the main culture? Okay, major patrons, major clients of Kathak. So the last Nawab of Awadh, or you can say the last Nawab of Awadh, that is Wajid Ali Shah and Mughal emperors. Okay, so the last Nawab of Awadh, that is Wajid Ali Shah and Mughal emperors, were major patrons of Kathak. Always remember who were the major patrons of Kathak. It was the Nawab of Awadh, that is Wajid Ali Shah, and Mughal emperors. These were the two people, the two dynasties which were major clients, which were the major patrons of Kathak. Okay, clear? So these were the two major patrons of Kathak. Another question is, what are the important architectural features of temples of Bengal? So what are the important architectural features of temples of Bengal? The main features, and you have to say the architectural feature. What was the specialty in building up of temples of Bengal? So the major architectural features are double roof and four roof. Either temples are built with the help of double roof, or four roof. Okay, double roof structure are called doshala and four roof structures are called chaushala. Okay, so what are the important architectural features of temples of Bengal? It was double roof, that is doshala, and four roof chaushala. So doshala and chaushala are the main architectural features of temples of Bengal. Okay. Now, another question states, why did minstrels proclaim achievements of heroes? Who were the minstrels? First of all, first question, what do you mean by the term minstrels? Right? And what does this question ask? Why did the minstrels proclaim achievements of heroes? Minstrels were those people who used to sing the song, recite the poem, make the poem on various kings who were brave. Okay, so those people usually make poems, usually make stories, make songs on bravery of a king. Okay, so minstrels. So question is, why did minstrels proclaim? Why did minstrels always speak about, or why did minstrels always tell us about the achievement of heroes, achievement of brave kings, achievement of rulers? Answer is, minstrels proclaim achievements of heroes in order to preserve their memory, so that people can remember them. Okay, in order to preserve the memories of common people, minstrels proclaim the achievement of heroes. Minstrels always tells, minstrel always describe the achievement of heroes and inspire the people. They give an inspiration to the people to follow their suit, to follow their path. Okay, yes, so they always inspire the heroes to follow their path. They always inspire the common people to follow the path of whom? Great heroes, brave warriors, brave kings. Okay, ordinary people were inspired by these stories. Okay, ordinary people get inspired by the stories of that featured not only dramatic situation but also idealistic emotions like loyalty, friendship, valor, etc. That means ordinary people were inspired, take the teaching by these stories told by minstrels. Okay, and these stories contain not only dramatic situation, not only their life, but also their idealistic emotion, their qualities like loyalty, friendship, valor. Valor means bravery, loyalty, honesty. Yes. Okay, so these are some of the idealistic emotions, these are some of the qualities of the heroes that always inspired the common people to follow their suit, follow their path. Understood? So that's why minstrels always tell, minstrels always describe, minstrels always describe the achievement of heroes, good deeds of heroes. Because it inspired the common people. Not only it inspired the common people, but it also inspired the people to follow the path of loyalty, friendship, valor and other qualities. Okay, valor means bravery and loyalty means honesty. Okay. Another question, why do we know much more about the cultural practices of rulers than about those of the ordinary people? Why we know about the culture of the rulers, culture of the kings, but not of the common people? Because of simple reason. Because the ruling class or the rulers only give historians the gift and the money to write about themselves. That's why the minstrels or the people employed under the king used to write about the rulers only. Okay, they were not writing about ordinary people or the common people, because they are not getting anything from the common people, from the ordinary people. Okay, so we know about the cultural practices of rulers instead of ordinary people, because these minstrels or these historians were employed by the rulers. Okay, they were employed by the rulers, and for employing them, the rajas or the ruler used to give them gifts, wealth, and that's why, because these historians are getting gifts and wealth for writing on the life of kings, rulers, they always write about the rulers, not about the ordinary people. Understood? Historically, only the ruling class could afford employing historians. It is the ruling class, it is the rulers who employ historians for the purpose of documentation, for the purpose of writing. So for the purpose of writing, kings employ historians. As a result, there are not many accounts that give details about the culture of common population, because kings employ historians and they are giving them salary for writing documentation on them. That's why they are writing about the kings only. They are not writing about common people. Rulers like Rajput cherish the ideal of valiant hero. Because of these things only, rulers like Rajput, those rulers who were Rajput, belonging to Rajputana kingdom, they cherished, that means they took the ideal of valiant hero. Because the minstrels or the historians have written about rulers of Rajput that they were very brave. They got the title, they took the title of valiant hero, they took the title of brave hero, and hence trained minstrels, and they were giving the training to also the minstrels, the musicians, the poets, okay, especially to recite poem and songs about heroes. That means these Rajputs rulers also give them the training as to how to recite good poems and songs about the Rajput heroes, about the Rajput rulers. Okay, that's why they cherished, they took away this culture and they took away the symbolism, they took away the symbol of being a hero in the eyes of common people. Right? Another question, why did the conquerors try to control the temple at Jagannath at Puri? Why conquerors try to control the temple of Jagannath at Puri? What is the need? The temple of Jagannath at Puri had gained prominence as a major center of pilgrimage. It has gained popularity as a major center of pilgrimage, Tirth. Okay? So it has gained the popularity as major center of pilgrimage. As a result, its symbolic importance in social and political matter had also increased. As a result, politically and socially it gained name and fame. Okay? The conquerors like Mughals, Marathas and even the East India Company sought to, try to gain control over the temple, because it is the symbol of pilgrimage, major center of pilgrimage. Moreover, it is the symbol of social and political importance. Understood? That's why it was thought that control over the temple, if you take a control over the temple, it would result in the local people accepting the acceptability or the legitimacy of the rule. if you are really a powerful conqueror, and if you took control over the temple, then you are making yourself getting accepted in the views of common people. If you are making yourself getting legitimacy of the rule, you are making the people to accept yourself as a powerful ruler. Understood? Yes, that's why the conquerors try to control the temple of Jagannath at Puri. Now, why were temples built in Bengal? The last question is, why temples were built in Bengal? Mostly the temples were built in Bengal. The temples were built in Bengal because of two purposes. Number one, to demonstrate, to show political power and to proclaim the deity. To show the devotion, to show the sacrifice towards the goddess. Number one, to show the political power and sacrifice towards the goddess. To show your devotion towards the goddess. Number one. Number two, many of the small brick and terracotta temples in Bengal were built with the help of social group of lower strata like the Kolu, oil pressure, and Kansari, bell metal workers. As the new economic opportunities enabled by European trading companies improved the socio-economic standing of families, they announced their status through the construction of temples. These temples were being built mainly by these small group people like Kolu and Kansaris. Kansaris are bell metal workers and Kolus are oil pressure who used to take out the oil, right, from different crops. So because this social group was involved in making up of temples, these were found in that region. Okay, that's why these temples got built up, these temples got flourished in Bengal. Okay, so because these lower strata people like Kolu and Kansaris, okay, involved in the making of brick and terracotta temples in Bengal. These peoples were mainly found in these regions. That's why most of the temples were being built in Bengal. Okay. So this was all about this chapter number 9, the making of regional cultures. Next time when I am going to come with another chapter. Till then, have a nice day, have a wonderful day. Bye.